good afternoon. Welcome to my kitchen, Queen's Curry Kitchen. Namaste on this beautiful Friday. What are we making today? A very, very classic dish from the north of India, and it is called. Oh, hold on. I think I just. All right. A very classic dish that's very popular from the north of India, and it's called Bagan Bharta. I've done demonstrations before when I've used a can, a bottled roasted eggplant, but today I'm going to show you how we do it from scratch using a fresh eggplant. So without any further ado, let me adjust all the cameras that are pointing to Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for joining me today so that you can all see how it's done. Alrighty. So welcome to everybody that's joining in. I may not be able to monitor the chat, but I will definitely reply to anything that you have written in the Facebook chat just because of the way my camera is angled. I do apologize for that, but here I am. Okay, so we're going to start with the first prep of the eggplant. That is the first step in this recipe. And basically what I did was, usually I used to take a big eggplant and char it directly on top of my gas flame. But what had started happening was that it ended up making a big mess. So now what I do is I take a skillet and I put a piece of foil paper on it, and then I stick a boning knife into the eggplant so I can actually turn it. It gets really hot and hard to handle. And then I keep turning it. I'd also placed these little garlic pods right next to it, so they're beautifully charred, and you can see they get a little sweet. You can put an entire bulb of garlic unpeeled, or you can just put cloves of garlic. And something new that I did this time was I also charred some cilantro. You see this? And they're like, it's nice and crunchy. So I'm thinking it's going to give a nice smoky texture. Now, if you see the bottom of this eggplant, it's not quite fully cooked. And what you can do is you can either just give it a final finishing by going on top of your stove like that. And also, if you're attending a barbecue or something, and after the barbecue is done, there is still, the coals still have a little bit of life to them and the embers are still going, you can always put in eggplants or sweet potatoes and use them the next day. Once the coal is cooled down, throw this, dig this out the next day. It makes the absolutely delicious smoky bharta that you can ever dream of. So a lot of recipes actually also use it just like that, and they don't cook it further. So the part of the country that my mom is from, which is the eastern part, which is from Calcutta, they just roast it like this. They peel it and take it apart, and then add mustard oil, green chilies, and some onions to that, and then they eat it as a Bagan Bhate. I know in Guyana there is Bagan Chokha, which is also very similar to what is made in Bihar. So the best thing to do is actually take this whole thing and put it in a box so it will peel off. But I'm happy to show you what it looks like. Okay, so not all of it will be thoroughly cooked. Some people like to take these garlic cloves and stick them into the gashes when they're roasting their eggplant, and that's totally fine. Just because it makes quite a big mess, I don't really like to cook it all the way, because then all the liquid oozes out and it's really a big mess. And I'm just gonna peel it off right here. It is pretty hot, so I am wearing a glove in one hand because I cut my hand and I really didn't want to expose that cut, so it makes it hard to grip anything. Right now inside you'll see that there's a sack of seeds. There's like a huge sack of seeds. I'm actually going to bring your attention over to this that I'm making right here, which is a tempering for the eggplant. And what it entails is I've added some cumin seeds, oil to the hot pan, some cumin seeds, some onions. I've added 2 white onions. This is probably the only dish that I know where you don't have to caramelize the onions till they're brown. Say what? Say what? Yeah, you don't have to. They should be well cooked. They should be translucent, but they should not be brown. And this is the only dish that I know that my mom makes which does not require turmeric. Yeah, it's strange, but this is the only dish that I know of in which my mom does not put any turmeric. There are lots of Bengali dishes that she makes in which she doesn't put turmeric. Facebook, please let me know if you can see clearly what is going on. I know this pan might be a little too far, but I can absolutely switch them out and bring it over so you can get a better view. Yes, begun pora, Ruby, that's what it's called, begun pora, and not begun bhaja, begun pora, that's right. So it's like a burnt, charred eggplant dish that's just very popular, and it's served as a first course. But in the north of India, it's eaten with chapatis, and I have my dough that I've kneaded for my chapatis, which is back in my fridge. Oh, thank you, Jyotsna. I appreciate your quick response. So you can see this is simmering away. I'm going to quickly peel this. Usually if you cook it a little further and if you chart it directly on the flame, it becomes really, really easy to peel because this skin actually comes off like paper. But because I did not cook it all the way, it's taking a minute. So, whatever your preference is, you can actually do it like that. But I kid you not, when you do it on the charcoal, you cannot beat that taste. That taste is absolutely, absolutely incredible. Any kind of food that's cooked over an open fire with wood burning or charcoal is absolutely incredible. There is like no comparison. It's simple and it probably takes all day to put that meal together. I get it, but it is what is called in Hindi la jawab. That means something that has no parallel. Okay, I'm gonna put in the charred pieces of cilantro just to keep the smoky flavor going. It's gonna be a really good thing. I'm gonna keep stirring this. I haven't added any spices yet. It's only been cumin, a little bit of ginger and garlic, and some onions. Now my onions are starting to get brown, and that's not what I want. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add fresh tomatoes. Again, these tomatoes don't have to be disintegrated. It's not like the tadka or the paste that we're trying to make. This is a bharta, but not everything needs to be mush. Try to aim for different textural qualities in the vegetables that you are using so that it'll be a good mouthfeel. I think I may have added a little too much oil to this pan. I was hoping to make the tempering for 2 or 3 dishes together, but I won't be doing that. So let me just go ahead and take out some of the oil. It's just making me very uncomfortable to think that I have to eat all this oil. Okay. Alright, that's not bad. Gonna give it a quick wipe so it doesn't get burnt. Yes, it's called Bagan Bharta in the north of India. That's what it's called. And the video keeps getting paused from Instagram for whatever connectivity reasons. So I'm just adding back the veggies, but I took out the oil. I really have to. Now to give it a little bit of color, since there is not going to be any turmeric in this dish, what I am going to do is I will add a little bit of tomato puree. Also, this is supposed to be a tangy dish. So the predominant flavor is supposed to be only tomato and the smokiness of the eggplant. My mom does not even put ginger or garlic. She just makes it plain, just with onions and tomato. So I'm mashing these onions with the back of my spoon, but just make sure that they don't start falling apart. Okay, now the entire salt quantity for the whole dish is going to go in right now. No turmeric. See, I was instinctively reaching for the turmeric. No turmeric, baby. Okay, and I'm gonna add paprika. I will add some freshly ground coriander seed powder, which is dhania powder, and that gives it a really nice balance. Man, it's hot in here. Oh. Okay, now I have to really speed up this thing, otherwise we will be not able to finish this and all my onions will be caramelized, which will not be a cool thing to do, right? And sometimes it's okay if you feel like you want to wash it, especially if you're going to make it in the charcoal. You might want to rinse it off so that you don't get any ash in your food. You can do that. Right? And I, for whatever crazy reason, like to keep this head on. You see this head part? I really like to keep it on because I used to, as a kid, I used to call it the bone of the the bone of the bharta. Don't ask me. It's like a very random and crazy name that I have for it, but that's what it's. I used to call it. Really crazy. So I'm gonna just take this off. You see, there's like this really big sack of seeds that comes out from the middle of it. Connection problems. Okay, hold on 1 second. Instagram, I'm coming for you. So this is a sack of seeds that I pulled out from the middle, and a lot of times this is the thing that gives people that itchiness on the tongue. So if you have somebody in your family who finds eggplant itchy, then don't put the sack of seeds. Just take them out. So there's like two of them smack in the middle of the eggplant, right? Um, and you can go in there, take it apart. There's more here. I think I'm gonna have to do some knife work. Now you can see that the bottom of this eggplant is not as charred or as cooked as the top was. And so for that I'm going to need a knife. But if you fully cooked it or steamed it or charred it, you're not going to need the knife at all. You will probably be working with a potato masher instead of a knife. So just take your eggplant, shred it, put it in there, and of course the head. You can choose to keep it on or off. It's entirely your choice. So this dish used to be my dad's favorite, but he used to always say that this tastes best with tandoori roti, not with regular chapatis. I love it with rice for whatever reason. It's a dry dish, but I just absolutely love how it tastes with rice. Okay, that's gone in. This is the last part, and I'm gonna cut it. Can you believe I have still not picked up my knives from the sharpening guy? So I have like a boning knife that I'm using to cut my vegetables. It's so weird, but here I am. Okay, so I'm just gonna quickly wash my hands. I'm gonna turn up the heat again. And now this is the time when this actually gets cooked. Okay, just a quick wash of hands. And sorry about Instagram because they're just not being able to come to the party. All right, so yeah, back in business with Instagram. So yeah, so now is the time when we actually go in and give it a good, what is called gunai. And bhuna is a technique which is very characteristic to Indian food, especially North Indian food, um, also East Indian food. There's a lot of searing that happens at high temperature, and you have to constantly stir the food. So that technique is called bhunna. The Britishers used to call it bhooning because there really is no parallel of it in the English language. Now, the last couple of things that I am going to add are these caramelized garlic cloves that I have. Oh, I forgot this. Ta-da! Blah. Okay, so I'm gonna add these for sure. They need to go in somehow. Let me see if I can find my microplane. Here it is, and I'm just gonna grate it right on top of my dish. So they have become a little lump. You can actually, it's almost pasty. So I think if you just whack it with the back of your chef knife, it's pretty pasty. So just remember the real flavor in this actually comes from the onions and from the smokiness of the eggplant skin. But a lot of people also like to add bell peppers. Some people like to add peas, you know. But every family kind of has their own special recipe of how they do it. I didn't add any peas today, and I certainly did not add any bell peppers. I'm just gonna keep giving it a nice stir, and you'll see that the color will deepen. So even though it was charred, it was not. It had no color on the inside. But as you sear it more and more, the color is going to deepen, and you'll see that all the uncooked parts are also going to start coming together. Now in my case, since I had a thick lump at the bottom which was not fully cooked. You see this one? Like, let me show you. So this part, you see, it's kind of raw. You cannot cut through. It's solid. It's cooked on one side and not cooked on the other side. So for something like this, see, it's so hard. I am going to go ahead and add about half a cup of water to this. And it's best to use a non-stick pan because then you can, turn it vigorously and do whatever you need to do with it. So I am going to go ahead and add about half a cup of water to this. Oh no. So I'm going to add the water right here. Give it a good stir. That's my mother calling. Somehow she just knows that I'm not able to talk to her right now. And she decides to call me today at the time that I'm live on air. But that's okay. That's what moms do. How is she supposed to know, right? Alright, so I added half a cup of water to this. And I'm just going to, mash it down with the back of my spoon. You can also do this with a round eggplant, which is light purple in color, and in New York it's called the Dominican eggplant. It tastes really good with that as well. I think the closest taste that I've gotten to the Indian Bagan Bharta is with the Dominican eggplant. It's a little sweeter, and it has a different it has a more velvety, like a smoother texture. So it's really nice. The seeds are not as pronounced. So that's a good one. Now, just before I allow it to simmer, I am going to add some curry powder to this. If you have MDH Kitchen King, you can use that. I'm just using curry powder from Costco. Okay, that's what I'm using. Just a few squirts of it. Ah, it smells so good. And that really gives it that typical North Indian Punjabi flavor that you get in restaurants. Now, in the restaurants, when we make it, we also add some heavy cream to it just to bulk it up a little bit because otherwise it's not cost effective. Um, but I personally feel like adding any kind of dairy or cream to any dish just kills the authenticity of it, and it kills the original flavor. Like, you can't taste anything. Okay, now before I serve it, I will also add some dry fenugreek herbs. I will just crush them with my palm and add that. If you have ordered the spice box from Queen's Curry Kitchen, you probably have it already in your spice box. Mine is empty, so I have to refill it. But this masala box is on queenscurrykitchen.com. You can check it out. Also the vegan cookbook and also classes. Everything is on there. So whenever you get a chance, jump onto that website and see what it's called. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick minute and acknowledge BK Smoke 718. So welcome to Queen's Curry Kitchen. I have Ruby tuning in. I have Shadiq Khan. Yes, in Guyana it's called Bagan Chokha. That's correct. You are so right, Shadiq. I'm glad that you shared that. That was one of the first thing I pointed out. Because my mom is from Calcutta and they do something very similar, which is called Begun Pura, right? So you're seeing that it's actually coming together very nicely. I'm going to lift it up so you can get a better view of it. Right? Oh, if you could only smell this thing with the fresh cilantro. Now, before serving, I'm going to, of course, add lots of cilantro to this. I will also add ginger juliennes, and I will add some dried fenugreek herbs. I didn't realize that while I was talking to you, all the water evaporated. So I gotta have some water again and put it in there. So don't be afraid to use water to make your vegetables tender. Whatever you're cooking, don't rely on the steam from oil to get your vegetables to a nice doneness, okay? So just give it a quick stir. I'm going to taste for salt. Ah, perfect. It needs a little more salt. I may add a little chaat masala at the end because I feel like that just gives it a little kick. But that's about it. And I'm going to get cracking with making the rotis. This is going to simmer for a few minutes, maybe about 3 to 5 minutes, and it should be ready. How you will know it's ready is that all the oil will come to the top and it will separate from the eggplant. So that's how you know that your dish is ready to eat. That's how you'll know it. If you have been watching any of my videos or feeling inspired, or if you want to have a go at Indian cooking and you want to take a class, you're welcome to get in touch with me. You can send me a DM, or you can enroll for a class on queenscurrykitchen.com. Like always, I appreciate each and every one of you joining me. I really do. There is a big announcement which I'm going to make for all New Yorkers, and that's the reason I was missing in action for the last few days. I wasn't able to make any videos. And the big announcement is that we are actually starting our meal delivery service. It's vegan Indian meals that are going to be delivered to your home. So you can order an entire week of food. You can order half a week of food. The menu will change every week. And it's healthy. It's made with low oil. It's made with sea salt and low level of spices. Pretty much whatever home style food you're seeing here, except that it's going to be made in a commercial kitchen. And we have delivery routes open right now in Rego Park, Forest Hills, Kew Gardens, and also in Midtown Manhattan West. So if you can use this service, I would appreciate each and every one of you supporting my little tiny small business who is trying to scale up and do something different in this crazy time. And if you have any friends that live in New York who you think will enjoy our food, feel free to share this link with them. All the information will be available on my Instagram and my Facebook feed, and I will share links to the exact shop where you can click and get your food delivered to your door. As always, it's a Friday, so what can I say? Have a great weekend. Be blissful, be flavorful. I may join you again tomorrow because I want to show you how to make cilantro chutney. Remember that big bag of cilantro that I got? And I never really got a chance to show you what I did with it. So I will definitely be coming on tomorrow and showing you how to make that big batch of cilantro chutney. And Sunday is my daughter's birthday, so I will be doing a lot of store-bought appetizers that I will be whipping up together. Not that much cooking, not so much rocket science, but there will be quite a spread that I'm putting out for her friends. So, if you see the notification that I'm live, join in, say hello, stick with me. I appreciate it. We also have a YouTube channel now, so if you missed anything here, you can always jump into YouTube. It's again Queen's Curry Kitchen out there as well. Join us there. Show your support, show your love, and if this video brought any value to your life or made you smile, it made me smile because I could spend my time with you. That really means a lot. Then please do share it and stick with us. Love you guys. Have a great weekend. Be blissful, be flavorful, and until the next one, I will see you again soon. Namaste, and thank you again for joining me.